Hello everyone, this is Emperor of the Great Unknown, bringing you another Medieval 2 online battle. This one is on the Crusades expansion, and it's a 3v3. I'm commanding Egypt. My ally is the TheIronPrice in command of the Principality of Antioch. And then we have Jamie Dodger, who's also in command of the Principality of Antioch. Unfortunately, Jerusalem was already taken by the opponent, so he couldn't play his hot seat faction. Anyway, we have our opponent's Swedish Landsnick, who's in command of the Kingdom of Jerusalem, and we have Elita Legionarii, who's in command of the Turks. And then on the far left facing me, we have the Byzantine Empire, who's commanded by Spartanquap. Now, this battle gets off to a pretty quick start, and it shows a lot of good teamwork. These are all high-caliber players, like some of the best. So generally, we know what we're doing. So we're actually going to have quite a lot of kind of grand strategy happening here between players, which is important. It's always important in a team battle when players work together instead of on their own. So I'm just going to slow things down a bit, just so I could explain what's happening in the battle. Now, initially I wanted to link up with the TheIronPrice and sort of fight in the middle, but we saw that the Turks in Jerusalem were kind of camping on this hill, and we knew that they wouldn't leave this hill that easily. So, especially with the Great Cross here, and usually when you move about in kingdoms, your men get quite tired. So we're going to use this to our advantage. So I told Jamie Dodger to delay any hostility or any conflict, while myself and the TheIronPrice were going to focus on the Byzantine Empire, because the Byzantine Empire over here is quite isolated. He deployed forward, probably just to keep this hill, but he deployed all on his own. That's what happens when the middle player deploys to one side. In order to avoid getting double teamed in this situation, you deploy back, but he's kind of making the mistake of committing. Anyway, we also have some of these Idikar, whatever, these horse archers that are also pretty good at melee. By Elita Legionarii, he's going to use these to harass my guys, and I'm going to send out my horse archers. These badass guys right here. Like, look at this armor right here. I think they're a Sibyan al-Khass or something. Anyway, they're about equivalent, and I'm going to use these to try to counter. But I ended up making quite a few mistakes in the beginning of this battle. We'll turn it up to normal speed. First off, I tried to get my archers to shoot at his horse archers while they're running by, but they didn't fire off fast enough, so they're also out of position, so I have to reposition my army. Now I have these two dismounted Arab cav to try to block any cav attempts. I tried to get a charge off on one of his archers over here, but he counter charges, but luckily my cav get away. Anyway, this is where I make a mistake. I wasn't paying attention over here, and I drew away all my cav away from here. So Elita's going to get a nice charge and take out two of my archers. And see, these guys did absolutely nothing. They just stood there. This is when I caught it and tried charging my infantry, but it's already too late. I'll send my bodyguard over here, but they've done their damage. And Spartanquap's going to get another charge here. Now this is going to be kind of a bit of a mistake, because he's going to charge right into the spearmen. And I'm going to counter charge. But I'm going to get quite a few kills in this really good horse archer unit. Now I'm going to try to push this flank really hard just to drive a wedge between the teams. And see, the Turks haven't moved yet, which is really concerning, because his allies here is going to get surrounded and double teamed. Anyway, I'm going to get in a good charge here on these Varangian guard. They're going to counter charge, and I'm actually going to lose my Mamluk unit. But again, quite a few kills on this really elite unit. See, they rout. And I also see these Firethrowers caught out, so I'm going to try to catch them. But he ends up surrounding my cav, and these two cav are going to rout. I also keep these cav like idle way in the back. I spent like a lot of money on my cav, and I ended up just like wasting them in the first 5 minutes. So I'm gonna charge forward since I lost most of my skirmishers, and again, Alita's using his horse archers to mop up the rest of my skirmishers. He put like a lot of upgrades in these guys too, like two chevrons and probably fully upgraded. Anyway, so I'm able to charge into these archers, and he's going to counter charge with his infantry, which is going to break my main line, because Egyptian infantry is just absolutely terrible. Generally, the eastern factions have poor infantry, decent skirmishers. In case of the Turks, they have really great skirmishers, and usually pretty good cav. And usually with the Christian factions, they have really good infantry, really good heavy cav, but pretty poor skirmishers. Anyway, it's a bit of a messy brawl over here, and he does get some. I think all the red flags are due to Firethrower's. Can actually slow things down a bit. Oh. Just because a lot of action happens real quickly here. Now the Turks and Jerusalem do come over here, and they wipe out my cav, which I wasn't paying attention to, and my cav just get absolutely slaughtered with almost no loss to their force. So right now it's looking pretty well. It's actually dead even, but my army was pretty much been defeated at this point. I'm using pretty much all I have is my general's bodyguard, getting in some harass and protecting the flanks over here. Now, my general's bodyguard is actually, you know, he's getting his sword wet over here, killing people. But we're going to play a pretty important role in this battle. Now, we continue with the plan. The IronPrice is pushing up his infantry and basically fighting off a pretty healthy Byzantine force. And we're getting rear charged, and you know, the Turkish cav is doing pretty well. Although most of their cav did go off on a side truck over here. I think it was a big mistake, especially since they're pulling back here. He should have wrapped around and got behind our infantry. But the IronPrice is sending out his cav to countercharge. We also have Jamie Dodger moving along the lines, keeping pace with Jerusalem. Now Jerusalem, I think they're running their forces over here, which is gonna really like push down their forces in terms of fatigue. So like some of them are already winded, and they're all going to be very tired by the time they get deployed properly. And also, Elite Legionary here is acting a bit too stationary in this position. He should push like what small forces we have here away, and perhaps get a counterflank around us. But right now we have my bodyguard, which is pretty much untouched, and they've been duking it out with the Byzantine heavy cavalry over here. We also have these Canons of the Holy Sepulcher, which are a really great elite unit, probably the best infantry unit in the Crusades campaign, probably in all of Kingdoms, to be honest. I'm going to get some side charges with my bodyguard, and it's going to help win the infantry fight for us. Now, we do have Jamie kind of holding back all this cav over here. And finally, the Turks move in to support their ally. But again, because they're running through the desert, they're really winded. Fatigue is very important in the Kingdoms expansion and Crusades, just because your men get exhausted quite quickly. Anyway, this is where the Byzantine Empire breaks, and I think that at this point his allies realize that he needs help over here. I think I have my general, yes, I have my general out here. I think he's trying to get some charges in on these Quakapulu, or Quakapulu, whatever. And these Edessan guard block his cav from chasing my my general. Although we do have some Knights of Jerusalem getting in behind their backs. Anyway, so we managed to I think rout this Quakapulu unit, or at least severely weaken them. Anyway, the Turks are rushing in, taking on these Canons of Holy Sepulcher. Although he's kind of blobbing up his forces. Well, just a bit. I mean, there's not really much infantry that we have around here to attack. He's got some Hashishin going in. So I'm actually going to get a really good charge here on, let me speed it up a bit, right on his flank, and this is going to be absolutely devastating. I mean, I'm going to kill probably a whole or half a unit at least, just because they were so clumped up and it was just such a ripe target. Now, Alita was saying after the battle that, oh, his infantry were routed so easily by these cannons, and that these cannons are so strong, but I don't think he actually saw this, that this cav charge really got into his infantry. So I'm going to go after his Nafatoon. I'm going to charge through there, and just to disrupt them. And I think Alita sees this, so he's going to, well, I guess he doesn't see it yet, because he just moved his cav away, but look, there's a whole mass rout from the Hashisham and Hasham. Anyway, Jerusalem sees I'm getting at the Nafatoon, so he's going to try to go after my bodyguard, which I end up losing pretty much my entire general's bodyguard. But my general's going to make it out of there. Got quite a bit of kills there. But they are going to push on this flank really hard, and they do eventually win this fight. But we got Jamie Dodger coming in finally in the fight, and he's attacking the flank of Jerusalem. And if you look at these troops, a lot of them are very tired, or tired, and that's really going to affect their combat performance, compared to like Jamie's troops, which are just warmed up and fresh. Although his crossbowmen are quite tired because they've been firing the whole time. We got the Marshal of the Hospitallers, which is again an excellent unit, probably with probably the best cav unit in Kingdoms actually. So I think at this point, Jamie's going to charge in. Even though they have the hill advantage, they're quite exhausted, and they did eventually win this battle, but what's going to happen, we're going to go after the crossbowmen instead of going after the main infantry line. Here's my general. He's the only one in the army left, pretty much, except for a few, like, scatters of infantry. Most of this battle was not fought by me, I must say. My allies really helped me a lot. I would have been in big trouble if it wasn't for them. But anyway, yeah, these units break just because they were so exhausted, and you know that changed the whole dynamic of the battle. And the Iron Price saved some cav for the last. Meanwhile, they're going after a crossbowman over here. But at this point, the battle's pretty much won by us. The Turks are sending in their general.
Only half the enemy force remains. We must pray they lose their will to fight. Rejoice.
Yep, and the Jerusalem general gets shot down by a volley of crossbowmen.
Attack and break the will of his men.
So we're going to pin down this cav, and we're going to basically take him out, prevent them from doing any more damage. I think my general's gonna get him a fight one last time. Oh, he's actually gonna try to go for the Turkish general. I don't think he kills him though. I think the Turkish general runs away. That guy was going crazy. And there goes the Byzantine general finally. Where did my general go? Oh, there he is. So at this point, the battle is pretty much over. It was just the timing of our attacks led us to win the battle pretty much. We were able to divide the enemy team, and they were a bit slow to react. Well, we were able to keep the initiative the whole battle. Anyway, for some reason, I got the most kills somehow. I thought I would only end up with like 300 or 200 kills because like my whole army routed. But if you look at this, my general's bodyguard got like 309 kills, only 33 captures, but like he got an absolute ton of kills. No one else in my army did as well, or nearly as well. They all kind of did crap, actually. I put so much money in the cav, and they all kind of failed me. And the infantry, as I said, Egyptian infantry isn't great, and my archers were routed immediately. And but really, I think it was the IronPrice and Jamie Dodger really carried the team, especially the IronPrice. He was able to leave some reserves while still supporting my my fight over there. And again, it was just, even though in the end we kind of lost that flank, it was just the fact that we tired their armies out and were able to get the better charges in. Anyway, it was a good game to my opponents. I think, well, I know Elita has a channel, Swedish Landstick has a channel. Actually, I think they all have channels except for the IronPrice, so I'm going to link them all in the description. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it, and have a nice day.